Yeah, that's clearly what Messiah taught, and so did the apostles.
Yeah.
Now, another issue is the fact that the business structure of church itself, the whole money making, millennials are broke. So the whole prosperity, like they grew up in a time of recession, and they're not really buying the whole blessing prosperity thing. And on top of that, they identify with suffering because they kind of came into existence during a time of financial disadvantage.
Yeah.
So there's more compassion on the poor and so forth because of just their upbringing. And so that whole branding of the money and the God says, give me this for this jet, like Creflo Dollar and all this, it's not resonating with them. They're seeing past it because, like you said, they're looking at their neighbors all around them, just their colleagues. They don't even have money. Why would they be giving it to all these other big and high and mighty projects when people right in front of them are struggling, including themselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's very simple. The issue is very simple, right? The institutions are ran like corporations because they are corporations, right? Mm-hmm. So in order for a corporation to run, it requires money, right? You need to have money to do that. And so what better way to deceive people than to invoke the authority of the supreme ruler of the universe? Because God told me that you need to give me money, you better give me money. So it harps itself off of the fears of the people. Yeah. I heard a guy say that this is just the most evil thing a human being can do is use somebody's faith, their hope against them. That's exactly what they're doing.
Wow.
And
say that one more time.
The most evil thing a human being can do is use somebody's faith or their hope against them.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. You have to give me money not because of anything that is true. It's because I'm saying that the supreme ruler of the universe told you to give me money.
Right.
But you go out there and you earn the money for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a genius business model. I used to have a company in the past called Social Vision Network, and our job was to create marketing systems, business models for our clients. So we did a lot of market research, a lot of market penetration, looked at their fragmented markets, how can we penetrate it, how can we create disruptive technologies and products to be able to turn around a profit.
Right.
And so this is no different. I think that the church institution, the institutional model is so genius because basically the guys who are running it don't have to work. You go work and you give me 10% of everything that you do. How brilliant is that?
Wow. All right, that, like I said, tide issue is a whole nother animal.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
we have to deal with, because you're making very good points.
Yeah.
And they are seeing through that. And like you said, we do have iPhones that can allow us to research these issues and see, is God really saying you have to give me your money? And that's where, kind of like what we said, the meter to determine what's true and false is kind of being exposed in our time, in our generation.
Yeah.
Millennials are not just taking your word for it; they're doing their own research.
Yeah.
And they're finding out that there's contradictions in what Preacher Man is preaching on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. And another thing that we were talking about, the last issue regarding that was the fact that they say everyone's welcome, but everyone's not welcome. What do you mean by that? What's the problem with that? Everyone's welcome. Mm-hmm. This seems like the open door policy for church. Anyone can come. Everyone's accepted. Why are they finding an issue with that?
Well, I mean, when you look at, this is called the seeker-friendly church movement, right? This started basically in the 60s and the 70s during the free love and the free sex movement.
The hippie era.
You had guys like Chuck Smith who came out of that with the Calvary Chapel movement. Mm-hmm. He kind of started, legitimized the first seeker-friendly church movement, if you will.
Right.
And so in order to be able to bring in these prospects or what we call customers, but they call members, because it's all the same thing, it's just euphemisms. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. You have to let everybody know everyone's welcome. But the problem with that marketing tactic is everyone includes many people from diverse ideals, diverse backgrounds, diverse views.
Right.
And what we're noticing is that a lot of the millennials are like, hey, listen, you say everybody's welcome, but then when a homosexual comes, you say you're not welcome.
Right.
Here's the issue. When you study the first century church, right, homosexuals were not welcome for obvious reasons. Because within the first century church, it was about deliberating the will of God. It wasn't about getting people in there. It was gathering for the purpose of deliberating to go do. And a person who's in a situation where they're given over to a vice had no application. You just had no function in that life.
Right.
And so you talk about even the problems from a marketing standpoint. These people have a legitimate argument here. You can't say everyone is welcome when everyone's come. Now you're going to reject them.
And that's true.
So they're seeing the flaws in the marketing tactics of these institutions, which is clearly legitimate.
Right. It's true. Everyone was not welcomed in the first century church. Like you said, they gathered to deliberate on how to bring the gospel to the lost, bring the gospel to the homosexual and so forth. It wasn't for everyone to pile up in a room and start this club. It was to gather, to do works, to do acts, to spread the salvation to the lost, including the homosexual.
Yeah.
And so that's where we do see a major conflict taking place.
Absolutely.
And rightly so.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about an interesting millennial. My favorite millennial.
Me? You're talking about me,
no.
right?
I knew
How am I not your favorite millennial?
Why did I know you would say
I'm
that?
just saying, like.
You're my second favorite.
Okay, back
All
that
right.
up.